Alright everybody, I'm out here in the new greenhouse that we've pretty well got buttoned up, and I'm digging water line in. That's always fun. Of course, doing it by hand because we don't have very far to go. I did witch it. If anybody's ever heard of witching water, I found our water line, the existing water line. So I've got about, I don't know, 10, 12-ish foot to dig. And so I'm standing in here in the greenhouse while it's still nice and warm, digging in the water line. I'll get the camera turned around and I'll get you showing what we're doing in here. I'm digging this because we're going to put our frost-free hydrant right here in this corner between, let me back up so I can show, between the furnace and the fan. We know we can't put our tables in here too far for starting, so we've decided to shove our water hydrant right here in this front corner. Plus then it makes it shorter for us so we don't have to dig in as far. But I'll get my flashlight out where we're doing in there. I'm about 3-ish foot deep. Let me brighten my flashlight up so you can see in there. Does it pick it up? There, you can kind of see it. And I'm 3 foot deep. I'm going to go 4 foot. But you can see it's just as black at the bottom as it is at the top. When I say we have fairly fertile soils, I'm not kidding by any means. Works pretty slick. It's pretty nice dirt. It's sandy loam. We used to be a river bottom, but they moved the river, so now we're not quite as close. But we got that, and we got our, when I talk about our wood tables, we have these that when we bought the greenhouse, these come with them. It's got the welded wire on 2x4s and all stapled together, and we got all of the cement blocks that they were on. So I got to get some cement blocks in here and probably find somebody else to help me. I figure on this first one, we're probably going to start at this first post. That way we have room around the fans. And then I did get potting soil moved in here. Well, and we'll run probably the narrow ones to the outside, the wider ones in the middle, and then the narrow one. So we'll have 3 bays. And I am probably going to make a hard break somewhere in here. I'm not for sure where. And I think we are going to try to hang plastic curtain down to separate it, so when we heat where our starts are, it's not super big, but then I can roll that up out of the way. I'm thinking we'll probably put 2 of these boards in, or 2 of these tables in. Well, maybe we'll put 1 in and then put a break, and then since they're all about the same length, as long as we space them, then I can just put a board down on the ground to hold the plastic down, and that way we can break it. But I did get some potting soil, and we do have some more wiggle wire left. That stuff's dangerous. If you need it, you can't find it, but if you don't, it's always in the way. But I got a 100-gallon Rubbermaid tote. This one had a crack in it, so we used it. I got it clear full of dirt in the wheelbarrow, full of potting soil. These are shutters that open automatically. It does have the spring on it, so they open to let air in and out. But they don't seal as well as I'd liked. So we probably are going to end up putting plastic on both of these, as we got 2. And then I think we're going to probably try to plastic this door shut just for extra insulation. It does seal pretty tight for the most part, but you can just nicely feel air coming in. So if we can minimize the air leakage, I think we're better off. I don't want to seal that door shut too bad because I'd like to open it in the summer when it gets hot. And it just is on a slide. Pop the hooks. That one don't like to come out very good. And then it just slides open. Just like a barn door. It's just got that on. We got to find a piece of trim for it. That way it sheds the water off of it, right? But we've got this one pretty well buttoned up. We just got to run electricity and finish the water. We got a little bit of just odds and ends left. And then we started laying out the poles for the next one. This is just going to be a hoop house. This is this was our Crop King one that we bought, a 30 by, it was a 30 by 128, but we're only going to put half up because that's what we have posts for with it. And if anybody needs some sphagnum peat moss, let me know. I ended up with a few extra bags of it, like 25-ish, if I remember right. But we got to get these put in so we can put this on. And I've got plastic for it, and we got to figure out end walls. We do have garlic that's up that we didn't get dug because it got muddy and gross and never got to it. So we've got it ready. The greenhouse is all, the big greenhouse is all winterized. We are starting to cut tomatoes out and take clips off and roll the strings up and all that, and that's why the wagon's up here, so we can throw all the tomato vines in it. This wagon had all of our arches in it, so we're going to get these put together and shoved on here. Well, and then there's the middle pieces. This end goes in the post, and then it arches up, and then them are in the middle, and then it goes back down into that side. I'd really like to find one more set of, or pair of posts, because then I think it will fit our space better. But I think it'll work. But then, yeah, that's about right. And then here on this end of here, I think all of our hay that we had out for decoration, more or less, I think I'm going to take it and I'm going to set, I got to watch the vents, but I think I'm going to come out with it and kind of do a bale garden out here on the back side of this, just to kind of play with. It's one of them things, even if I would end up with some more rafters for this and purlins, I can bring it out and we can just put shade cloth over it in the summer and use it as kind of a experimentation area. But I've got just a nice enough room. And then I think over here on this side, where behind the asparagus there, I think we may add another row of rhubarb in here, in between the asparagus in here. Add some more rhubarb, because that's what's all in that mess that I need to work on. And it may end up with an extra row also, because we do sell quite a bit of rhubarb in the summer. That way it'll work rather nice. But yeah, we got a good chunk out of my soil block, or my potting soil. I wish I had something, another trough or two. We'll see. And then there's all them cement blocks I was just talking about. We've got a couple of them left. And this thing was like 6-8 foot long. And we've got probably half of it dug out. And it's still just nice potting soil. I got it kind of covered up as best as I can so it won't draw moisture, so in case I need to get some out while it's cold, I got it. So I was trying to get as much of it as I could inside. And all of that soil was just sitting on this pallet with the plastic on it, and it was just shrink wrapped on there. This is just the plastic, white plastic shrink wrap. So that's all I know today. I think that's about all I can think of that we got going on. I've got all of this plowed. I do have that little piece up there that I got to finish up. I got to get them posts out, but it's kind of chilly out, so that's why I was working inside the greenhouse where it was a little bit nicer. We got most everything put away. I've got a few things. I got some posts to pull, but I'm gonna have to maybe use a tractor, get them. They're starting to get just a little bit of frost in the ground. I got all the corn combined. So I'm getting a good, nice, ready for winter. Trying to get all this because I think we're going to try to start all of our tomatoes in here this year, so that way we're close, because then we just have to make it from this greenhouse to the head house into the greenhouse over there. We don't have to make them as far from, we've been starting them in the house. Well, if we don't have to start them in the house, make them from the house clear out here. They're not outside as long. I've got a couple big plastic tubs that we can stick a flat in, and it takes a little bit, taking a flat over at a time. But it's also one of them things that makes it pretty dang nice, because I can shut it up and get it insulated and help with the cold a little bit better. But I think that's what we got. Oh, I got to add some dirt underneath the door and this board. It's not quite, wasn't quite level when we built it. We knew it was a little low, but we put it in level and went from there. And when we got it, this is that reused piece from that other, they had it notched for some reason. So it wouldn't be as bad if it was the true 2x6 or 8 or whatever it was that was at the bottom. But what do? We don't ask questions. We just use the stuff. And we'll get that done. I guess we got to run a gas line for the propane heater and the power out here to run it. But for the most part, if we have to, we can get a temporary tank put in and run hose on the ground to get it in here. Power, we could always run the power on top of the ground if we'd have to. I would prefer if we had time to get it trenched in, but if it freezes up and we got to use it, we'll use it. If not, we'll worry about it. I mean, we're kind of at the mercy of the weather. It's been cold, but last couple days, but it's supposed to, looking at the weather, supposed to have a high of 50 today. And yesterday's high was like 34. And it's been low 30s for highs the last few days. And now for the next week, it's supposed to be highs in the 40s and 50s. So we'll take that. Will probably gain us a little bit of time, enough to get us by. And I'm okay with that. I like the nicer weather. I do got a few holes in the plastic that we got a patch. They're just, I don't know if it's something we snagged when we put it up or if it was that way and we just didn't notice it. Because when we took the plastic down, we looked at it, thought it looked really nice, but the more we looked at it, the more we sat there going, oh, it's not as nice as we thought it was, and found some rubbed holes in it and stuff. So it was just, oh well. We have it, it's up now, we'll make do. Should probably just replace it, but it's getting late enough now, we'll make do with what we have. Oh, another freaking wiggle wire. But I got to get all this moved around, and I'm going to have somebody help me move them big suckers, because what is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think they are 16 foot long or something like that. I don't remember. Well, they're 4 foot, 4, 8, 12. They're a little over 12 foot long, ish. That, yeah, they're a little bit heavy. By the time you had 4 12-foot 2x4s plus the stringers across and the wire, it's more than one person really wants to move on these big ones. 2 people can move them pretty easy, but one person, it just, you really can't. And then we got this nifty little cart. It's an old grill with a piece of plywood on it. But you know what? This thing's been just handy as can be. You can just pick it up and roll it to where you want. Set it back down and do your work. You can put stuff on it. It's been pretty handy for the minimal money that was invested in to make it. Yeah, we could have built one too, but it's just as handy to use something somebody else had done, because I'd have probably never thought about just putting a plywood top on a grill cart. It makes it so you can roll it up and down. We'll use it to roll it up and down the rows and put stuff on and transport stuff, so it'll work pretty slick. I guess I've rambled on for long enough. Talk to you guys all later. All right. I was talking about witching water and water lines. What works best for me is 2 pieces of copper wire. Will it pick that up? Yep, it's just regular copper wire. This side still has the insulation off. I take off where I hold it, and you hold them out in front of you like this. When you cross water, it will turn crooked or turn sideways over top of each other like this. Instead of out front, they turn sideways. And it does it all on its own. I just hold them like this with my hands, and then I gotta hold my fingers to get them to do it up here. But I know approximately where the lines were, so I was just out walking, and then it would turn when I got it. It also, where our electrical wire is buried, I found it yesterday too. I knew about where it was, but I could start at the pole and I could start at the hydrants. That's why I know it works for me, because, and I know not everybody can do it, but, and then of course I forgot I said, I bent them into an L, a big L. But it works really good for me. I have good luck with it. The other day, or here last year when we were doing it, I think everybody in my family did it, and about half of us could do it and the other half couldn't. It's just, and then I don't know if it matters, but I always spin them in my hands before I do it. And I'll get you turned. Let me see if I can, it's facing into the sun, so it's not the best. I got you up on my mount. I'll turn it and see if I can see while I'm here. And I'll walk to the camera because I know it's right here in between us. And I just stand out here like this with them out front. And I talk, what, so you can see where they're starting to turn. See, and then they do it. It's right here at the edge of the path. And I know about where it was, but I thought it was in just a little bit farther. Because see, now I can't, I guess they are turning, but I can back up and they straighten back out. And of course I run them tipped down just a little bit, so it's not just a weird, and I'm just holding them to keep them from tipping. I don't have any pressure on them. I don't do anything, but you can just see it. They just naturally cross. Well, I should hand them out back this way farther, but I know about, it's amazing how it works for me. I don't know why it does it, how it does it. I was told it's from disturbances from digging. I've been told it's the running water, but I can do it with power lines too, buried power lines. So it's got to be something with the way the dirt has been dug, and it just lines them up. It's just amazing. That's how I was finding our water line. My hole is off by about 2 foot. I should have dug it over farther. Oh well, now I know. I thought I had it. I thought I was gonna get it pretty easy. Well, it's not. So here, let me get the camera showed around and I'll show you my hole. There's the edge of the building, and I put the bale in to help keep it from freezing right there, because we do have it started. And then I took a bucket full out with the tractor and loader to just help dig it a little bit quicker, piling the dirt over there. But the end of the water line is right about here where this bump is, where you can kind of see the dip in it. That's about where the water line. So I'm, I don't know, 2 foot-ish off. But so now I got to dig this all out, clear over to there so we can tie into the water line. We're just going to put, it's 1-inch plastic, black plastic pipe. So we're going to put a T in it and run it straight into there. So the bucket's about 7-8 foot wide, so 8, 9, well, we might be 12 foot of pipe to get from there into there. And then we'll put the hydrant on the inside, just a regular frost-free hydrant. So that way, if it's cold, we do not have to heat it. We don't have to worry about stuff freezing because it shuts off below the ground. We don't have to worry about it. It just makes it a lot easier. That's the way we set up the big greenhouse, so we could drain everything, shut it off. We don't have to keep heat in it all winter just because we have water in there. It makes it a hair easier. But that's kind of what I'm working on right now. I don't know if I'm going to work on the outside a whole lot more today, but I was trying to get all the inside done, and you can see the daylight underneath there. I need to get the shovel out and just backfill a little bit of that, so just so it's buried. And then I threw the hay bale on here just to help insulate the ground right there so it won't freeze as easily. We do get enough sunshine out here away from it that it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I know I don't want to dig the water line up until I have all the stuff to do it. I can have the rest of the hole dug, but I don't want to freeze my water line and break it. So that's kind of why it is kind of a nice thing, I guess, to have it off that far, because I can tunnel under and get it and not have to dig quite as much dirt. I just got to have enough room to cut it and put the T on and go from there. So either that, or I might get the, well, I don't know. I don't have the right tractor here. I can't put the our little 3-point backhoe on the big tractor because it gets too close to the back window. One of them weird things that the cabless tractors work better, and the International's having a few issues right now, so it's just easier not to mess with it. That way I can get it fixed right, and then we just get this dug up and go from there. But if I had that, I could go to Menards real quick and grab my plumbing. But there you go. That was the rest of this. I forgot I did this when I ended it before, so I'll tack this to the end. Witching water. I don't know why it works. I know only certain people can do it, but it works, and it works well. And I don't know, maybe I can get a big zoomed in. They're just 2 pieces of regular insulated wiring. And we got geese around here somewhere. But just thought I'd show it off and show what I was talking about. Sometimes, you know, when people talk about it, I've also heard them called dowsing rods. We always called it witching water, but I guess it depends on where you come from, what it is. There you guys go. Talk to you later. I'll see you in the next video.